Hey, welcome back to Fresh Gaming News. So today we've had a massive freaking leak of the Nintendo E3 2010 3DS demos. So what this is basically at E3 2010 they announced the 3DS, and because it wasn't out yet, they had a showcase of different kinds of demos in 3D of the 3DS. But because it was in 3D, they didn't want to show too much of it, so a lot of it was like off screen. So you couldn't actually see them easily. And over the years, we've had more and more stuff revolving it. And recently, we had a Paper Mario trailer from it, and that was really cool. And like, I didn't think we'd ever see that. But now we have a whole load more of stuff. So to start, we have this Mario Kart trailer, which was so early on. They didn't even have ramps yet, or like gliding. Like you can see that he just falls to the ground. There's no gliding whatsoever in this version. And I don't think you could do underwater stuff either. And not only that, but it's also playable because it's actually an in-game trailer. So it's not like a pre-rendered trailer, it's actually in-game, so you can actually play it. And there's like an even earlier version of Wuhu Island Loop than even the trailer in the files. And there's also Yoshi's Circuit and Mario Circuit, which is crazy because that wasn't even in Mario Kart 7 to begin with. And then after that, we have this Animal Crossing preview, and this is even more crazy because Animal Crossing came out in November 2012, which was over 2.5 years before this. So this is like 2.5 years in production of a game, and this is also playable, but it's not as like big. It's a pretty limited thing. Like, there's not much to do in the playable part, but it's still very cool. And then after that, they had all these... There's also these classic collection games where you can, like, see all these different things, all these different games in 3D with 3D graphics. They had, like, on the 3DS, they had, like, a couple 3D classic collection games, like Excitebike and Kid Icarus. But this was, like... Back here, they had like all these other games that they never had released finally, including one that was even crazier, Mario World, which was a Super Nintendo game. They never did any Super Nintendo games, and they never released any Super Nintendo games on the 3DS to begin with. They only did that on the new 3DS. So if this came out, it would have been crazy. But unfortunately, none of these are actually playable. They're all just trailers, and they don't have any like files to make them playable. But it's still very cool to see them in 3D. And then they also had an early version of ZVS, which actually did come out on the 3DS normally. And then they also had this crazy trailer for Ocarina of Time 3D. And this was not also playable, but it was like a cinematic trailer. And this was before they even announced Ocarina of Time 3D to be coming out. They weren't sure if they were going to make it a full remake or not. But they did. And then we also have two demos for Pilotwings Resort. One that is like a very limited one, and then there's another that has like a full thing. And then they also have a Star Fox 64 demo, which is pretty lower res than the final version, but it's cool to see how it is different. And then there's also a Nintendogs and Cats demo and a Steel Diver demo. And then there's some Kid Icarus Uprising trailers, which is cool, and it actually has different music in the earlier version of the Kid Icarus Uprising trailer than the actual final trailer, which is weird. And then there's also this 3DS demo thing, and there's also like trailers for some 3D movies, and it's all on the Internet Archive, so you can, if you want to download it, you can all get them all here. Here are all the stuff they have leaked. But the way to get it is kind of confusing because you have to like reset your 3DS to run in this mode, and you might delete a lot of stuff. So like it will format your SD card. So you don't want to do it if you don't have an extra SD card. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm gonna try and get it set up. But yeah, what do you think about this? Are you excited, or do you not care about the 3DS whatsoever? Anyway, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in the next Fresh Gaming News. Bye-bye.